let's talk about what it means to be a Black woman in these spaces.
Yeah.
And how you have to overcome so much based off perception, what people are expecting of you, while at the same time still being true to who you are. I think that's something that is so interesting because we can find ourselves learning so many different languages, so to speak. And then by the time that you get there, the very people that were motivating you to get to that place sometimes don't even recognize you. You go from being the underdog or someone that people are rooting for to sitting on the top of the mountain, and all of a sudden you don't look the same.
To them.
To them.
Yeah. But those are the people who couldn't handle the oxygen. They couldn't handle the climb. So you cannot bring everybody along with you. And I will say this to anybody who's listening at whatever level you are, particularly if you are the first person in your family to break through. Then I remember in those early days when my salary was, all over the front pages of all the tabloids and stories. And, now that I look back on it, I can see how much God loves me because at the time, because I'd always been in television since I was 19 years old, I was just going from one job and now I'm going to do this job. And I realized that doing my own show in Chicago was a big deal. But I never expected to become, I remember telling my father when I was in the barbershop, my father had a barbershop in East Nashville one day, that, actually this is a better story. When my father was dying in 2022, we were sitting out on the porch.
Long life.
And my father said, is it true what they say? I said, what do you mean? He goes, they say you're a billionaire.
Huh?
Is that true?
You say you what?
A billionaire.
Okay.
That's what my father said to me. He says, is that true? This is in 2022, July 5th, 2022. And I said, yeah, it's true. He goes, well, that's something. That's really something. He goes, you never talked about being a billionaire. Now, you always talked about being a millionaire. You always said that one day you were going to be a millionaire. And I remember you running around the barbershop talking about you were going to be a millionaire. And I remember Mr. Thomas, when you became a millionaire, said, Oprah always said she was going to become a millionaire. I didn't know how she's going to do it, but she did it. So now you're telling me you're a billionaire. I said, well, I never talked about being a billionaire. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Right.
I didn't even know there was such a thing. And so this idea that I have always had a belief that my life was bigger than I could even imagine, because I always thought I was like, I belonged to something bigger than myself, which is the higher power of God.
Right.
And so I actually do believe and did believe that through Christ you can do all
things.
I really do.
You can.
I really do.
My life is a testimony to that.
So is mine.
Is yours.
So is mine. I really did believe that.
Me too.
So all the things that people thought a Black woman should be or should do, it never occurred to me that I couldn't do what I've done. It never occurred to me. It just never occurred to me. Never occurred to me. Because I always saw myself as a little Black girl who was truly God's child. So much so that when I started school, and I didn't even know who my father was at the time. When I started school, I used to tell people, they say, who your dad? And I go, Jesus is my daddy. And they go, this girl crazy. She up here talking about Jesus is her daddy. So I really grew up believing that I could do all things because I was God's child. And so when I walked into the newsroom and I was the only Black woman there, I just assumed I was supposed to be there because God had made the way for that. It never occurred to me to feel like I didn't belong because I knew God had created the path for me to be there. When I got the job in Baltimore and was criticized for being Black, let me just tell you, I didn't realize that I was doing an interview with Tracy Ellis Ross about hair. We were doing a big thing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so why are you crying?
Because I feel that exact same way, where even in my human moments where it's scary or you can, people call it imposter syndrome, whatever, my courage has always came through because I have such a deep faith in God.
I don't have
literally
imposter syndrome.
the source. It's like no matter what seems strange on the outside, it has never guided or stopped or thwarted my ability to push forward. And I think the tears are also coming from, first of all, it's an overwhelming sense of recognition, and then it's like how when people don't have that. When they don't know that, when they can't find their connection to that, I also feel grief for that.
Yeah.
Because certain things are out of your control. But that does not mean that it can stop you. And yet we are living in a world where people feel absolutely stopped. They feel like every hill is too high. There's no road they can get past. And that really saddens me.
What I never understood when I was a kid is like people going to church, praying to God, and then going home and worrying. So here, I mean, when I lived in Chicago, my kitchen faced the Lake Michigan, and the sun would come up every morning over the lake. And I would stand there drinking my tea or coffee or whatever it was at the time, and I would just watch the sun rise before heading off to work. And I think my faith is like that. I have sunrise faith. All of us have been in an airplane where it's pouring, raining on the ground, and all kinds of crazy things are happening on the ground, and then you shoot above the clouds, and there the sun is there. It's always there.
Yeah.
Well, the power of God, the power of the force of your life, which you can feel in your breath. In every breath, there is the force of life breathing with, above, around, and through you. I have faith in that thing. I have faith in the thing that causes that sun to come up every morning. And the thing that made that sun come up every morning, certainly if I am in alignment with the truth of myself and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm moving in the direction that I'm supposed to be moving, it's going to meet me where I am. And it's going to grow me to the next level. That is what has happened in your life. That is what has happened in my life. And on all those years, I was journaling and I was praying. I have these journals where I'm, asking God to help the guy whose bumper I was holding onto. God, please make him love me. Help him to see that I'm really the woman he needs and all that crazy. What I realize now is God was waiting on me. I'm waiting on God to do something to change him, and God is waiting on you. And so it's all about what do you really want, and are you in alignment with with your purpose? As I was going to say, the great teaching from Seed of the Soul for me, there's a great line in there that says, when your personality, you have a great one, you have a big one, your personality is huge, okay? Ginormous personality, comes to serve the energy of your soul. That is authentic empowerment. So that means when you are using, no matter who you are, if you are using your personality, your talents, your gifts, to serve the deeper reason why you're here, then you are in alignment with purpose and nobody can touch you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, because you are in alignment with that thing, that force that makes the sun come up every morning. You are in alignment with that thing. And so why am I going to walk in a room and feel that because I'm a black woman, anything other than I am supposed to be here? Because God is the one who paved the way for me. I did not get here by myself.